The moment the trailer opens, you can feel the shift in tone. This isn't Yellowstone anymore. This is Beth and Rip entering a world that's bigger, colder, and more calculated than anything they've dealt with in Montana. The gritty city shots that were filmed in Dallas but made to look like downtown Chicago start to make a lot more sense now. In the trailer, these scenes aren't just here for aesthetics. They hint at a new, polished type of enemy that doesn't ride horses or hide behind land disputes. This is corporate-level danger, the kind that doesn't need a gun to ruin someone. And when you pair that with the raw, rugged Texas ranch visuals, the whole thing feels like two completely different worlds crashing straight into the Duttons' lives. It's honestly brilliant. Beth and Rip look like they've stepped into the story we always knew they deserved. One where their bond is the anchor, but the storm around them is getting darker by the second. The trailer shows quick flashes of Beth's intensity, Rip's quiet but lethal focus, and Carter's unexpected transformation. The way Carter appears in the trailer tells us a lot. He's older, tougher, and carries himself with this controlled confidence that feels eerily similar to Rip. It's like Rip is staring at a younger version of himself, but this time he's determined not to let that boy fall through the cracks. And those few seconds in the trailer where Rip looks at Carter, it's not loud or dramatic, but it hits you. Because you just know Rip is stepping into John Dutton's shoes in a way he never planned. But as powerful as these emotional threads are, the suspense comes from the quick cuts of unexpected characters. Annette Bening's Beulah Jackson appears for just a moment, but it's enough to feel her authority. She's not playing a side character. She looks like the type of ranch boss Beth would either respect or absolutely destroy. And Ed Harris as Everett McKinney? The trailer shows him with that quiet, weathered calm that tells you this man has seen things and survived them. These scenes are short, but they're purposeful. Sheridan clearly wants us to understand that Beth and Rip are not the only giants in this story anymore. The trailer also gives us a few seconds of the new crew. Oriana with her rebellious energy, Zachariah looking like a man battling his past, and Hawken who carries this ground. What the trailer cleverly hides, but doesn't quite manage to bury, is that whatever drags Beth and Rip into Chicago isn't accidental. Those downtown shots exist for a reason, and once you look closely at the trailer, you realize they're not just showing us a new setting, they're showing us the origin point of the danger that follows them all the way to Texas. It's so quick you might miss it. A flash of men in sharp suits, a briefcase exchange, a glimpse of someone watching Beth from across a lobby. These aren't random background moments, these are signals. Sheridan is telling us that the polished world of Chicago business is slipping its fingers into the Dutton universe, and the fallout is going to reach the ranch whether Beth is ready for it or not. And if there's anything we know about Beth Dutton, it's that she's always ready to start a war. But this time the battlefield doesn't belong to her. The trailer gives us this tension that feels completely different from Yellowstone's usual threats. It's not land developers or rival ranch families this time. This is a level of power that exists in boardrooms, in sealed deals, in whispered conversations that destroy lives without a single bullet being fired. Beth walks through those scenes with that familiar confidence, but there's a certain edge in her eyes we've never seen before. Like even she knows that this enemy plays a game she can't fully control. And the craziest part? Chicago isn't just a backdrop. It's a warning. The trailer makes it clear that the Dutton Ranch in Texas is about to get hit from angles they won't see coming. Whatever starts in the city doesn't stay there, and the fact that Sheridan recreated downtown Chicago and Dallas tells us those scenes matter far more than we think. Rip, on the other hand, is shown exactly where he feels safest, on ranch land, doing what he does best. But the way the trailer weaves between Chicago's cold, glass and steel environment and Rip's dusty, rugged world creates this feeling that he's about to face something he can't simply punch or bury. It's a different kind of enemy, the kind he has no experience fighting. And the trailer wants us to feel that shift, that imbalance. For the first time in a long time, Rip looks like he's stepping into a conflict he doesn't fully understand. And that alone is terrifying. Then there's Carter. The trailer gives us these almost painful glimpses of him trying to keep up with Beth and Rip's world, but you can see the weight on his shoulders. He's not just trying to survive anymore. He's trying to belong. And when the trailer cuts to Carter standing in a crowded place that looks nothing like Montana or Texas, it raises so many questions. Why is he in Chicago? Who brought him there? And what kind of trouble is he walking straight into? The way Sheridan uses Carter in the trailer is subtle but incredibly smart. He's not a kid anymore, and the choices he makes now are going to define what role he plays in the future of this universe. It feels like he's being positioned at the center of something huge, even if he doesn't understand it yet. And let's talk about Beulah Jackson for a moment. Her presence in the trailer is haunting. She doesn't have to speak. She doesn't have to move. Just her standing in the frame tells us she's a force Beth can't ignore. The kind of woman who runs her land like a kingdom and protects it like a battlefield. You can practically feel the rivalry forming the moment she appears on screen, because Beth doesn't do equals, and Beulah doesn't look like someone who bows to anyone. The tension between these two women alone could carry an entire season, and the trailer gives us just enough to know their clash is coming. Everett McKinney is another quiet storm. The trailer shows him in that calm, calculating way only Ed Harris can deliver. You don't know whether he's going to be an ally, an enemy, or something far more dangerous. A man who waits, watches, and steps in only when it matters most. His scenes feel heavy, like he carries knowledge that could change everything. Sheridan doesn't cast Ed Harris for simple roles, so whatever Everett knows, whatever he's hiding, it's going to matter. What makes the trailer so suspiciously good is how it mixes beauty with danger. Christina Voros uses wide shots of Texas that look warm and peaceful, but then she cuts to dark hallways, tense stares, and silent threats. It creates this emotional whiplash that tells you the world Beth and Rip built is fragile. One wrong move and it all collapses. And the presence of these city scenes suggests the collapse might not come from the ranch. It might come from far away, from a place that doesn't care about the Dutton legacy at all. The trailer ends its Chicago montage with a shot that lingers just long enough to make your stomach drop. Not because it reveals anything obvious, but because it confirms that this city is connected to the central conflict of the season. And once you realize that, the suspense hits you like a truck. Because if Beth thought the fight for Yellowstone was brutal, she hasn't seen anything yet. This isn't about protecting land anymore. This is about protecting the one thing she can't lose, her family. And the fact that the enemy is coming from a world she once dominated but no longer controls, that's the twist that makes this trailer so insanely good. One of the wildest things about this trailer is how effortlessly it introduces new characters without telling us anything directly, yet somehow telling us everything we need to worry about. It's the kind of subtle storytelling Sheridan loves. Quick flashes, sharp expressions, a few seconds of silence that feel heavier than a monologue. And the more you replay the trailer, the clearer it becomes that these new faces aren't just background additions. They're the exact pressure points that are about to turn Beth and Rip's world upside down. Oriana is the first one who really stands out. Her presence feels electric, reckless, and unpredictable. She shows up in a split-second shot, wind in her hair, eyes burning with this wild freedom, that instantly tells you she's trouble in the way only Sheridan characters can be. The way the camera lingers on her, even briefly, suggests her story is about to collide with the Duttons in a big way. Maybe she's running from something. Maybe she's chasing something. Whatever it is, she has that vibe of someone who could either become family or become the spark that lights the whole ranch on fire. And knowing Beth, if Oriana steps 1 inch out of line, it's going to be war. Then there's Zachariah, played by Mark Manaka, and his appearance in the trailer is so deliberate it almost feels like a warning. You see him getting released from a holding facility, the light hitting him in that harsh, unforgiving way that makes it clear his past isn't done with him yet. There's this tired determination in his expression, like a man who's trying to find redemption but keeps running into the ghosts he thought he buried. The trailer shows him later holding a rope, standing in dust and sunlight, trying to adapt to ranch life. But something in the way he looks around tells you he doesn't feel safe, or maybe he's not supposed to be. His presence on the ranch could be a blessing, or a threat. Rip doesn't trust people easily, and Beth, she trusts no one. Bringing a man like Zachariah into their world feels dangerous, and the trailer wants us to feel that. Azul, Rip's right-hand man, barely speaks in the trailer, but his silence is exactly why he's so interesting. He moves with purpose, like someone who's been around Rip long enough to understand that loyalty is everything. There's a moment where he's standing slightly behind Rip, eyes scanning the horizon, and you get the sense that if Rip is the hammer, Azul is the shadow that follows it. The kind of man who handles dangerous tasks quietly, efficiently, and without leaving loose ends. And the trailer frames him in a way that makes it obvious. Azul is going to matter. He might be the difference between Rip keeping control or losing it. But it's Hakan who gives the trailer its biggest moment of quiet intensity. He's introduced in what looks like a simple ranch scene, fixing equipment or handling horses, but the energy around him is tense. There's a steadiness in the way he moves, like someone who knows how to solve problems, but not always in ways other people approve of. And when the trailer ends, one of his shots on a close-up of his face, eyes sharp and calculating, you realize he's not just a worker. He's someone with history, someone with secrets, someone who has done difficult things for survival. The kind of man Beth might hate at first, but eventually depend on. Or the kind Rip might trust, right before discovering that trust was a mistake. All these new characters bring something different to the story, but together, they shift the entire power structure. The Dutton Ranch is no longer just Beth, Rip, and Carter against the world. It's a new community forming, a group of damaged, complicated people trying to build something real. And with every new addition, the stakes rise, because the more people under their roof, the more threats they have to face. But what truly elevates this trailer is how it uses these new faces to reflect Beth and Rip's internal battles. Beth is surrounded by people who remind her of younger versions of herself, bold, reckless, emotional. People who make decisions with their hearts instead of their heads. And you can see her struggling with that, fighting her own instincts while trying to guide them without losing the fierce independence that defines her. Rip, on the other hand, is surrounded by men who remind him of who he could have become if John Dutton hadn't saved him. Men with trauma, men with broken pasts, men who are one bad day away from slipping into darkness. Watching him interact, even briefly, with these characters in the trailer shows you how far he's come, and how easily he could lose himself again. And then there's Carter, right in the middle of all these new personalities. The trailer makes it clear. Carter's future depends not just on Rip, but on the entire community forming around him. These people will shape him, test him, maybe even break him. And the way Sheridan frames Carter in the midst of these strangers tells you that he's being groomed for something big. Something legacy-level big. The entire section of the trailer dedicated to the new cast has this undercurrent of tension, like every character is carrying a secret that will matter later. And that's what makes this spin-off so exciting. It's not just Beth and Rip dealing with external enemies. It's them navigating the messy, unpredictable world of new relationships, old wounds, and shifting loyalties. The trailer doesn't spell it out, but you feel it in your bones. Every new character is a potential ally, or a future betrayal waiting to happen. What makes this trailer hit so hard isn't the action, or the new characters, or even the Chicago twist. It's the way it quietly reveals that Beth and Rip are stepping into a chapter of their lives where love isn't their weakness. It's their greatest weapon. But the trailer also makes something painfully clear. The past they've spent years outrunning has finally caught up to them. And this time, it's not coming in whispers. It's coming in waves. Sheridan uses every frame of this trailer to show us that Beth and Rip's bond has never been stronger. But that strength is exactly what makes them vulnerable now. Because the stakes aren't just about land or legacy anymore, it's about protecting the one thing they've built with their bare hands, a family. The trailer gives us this hauntingly beautiful shot of Beth standing alone, looking out over the ranch, her face caught between determination and dread. You can practically feel her mind racing, calculating every threat, every weakness, every possible target. Beth has always been a fighter, but in this trailer she looks like someone preparing for a war she didn't start, but fully intends to finish. And then the trailer cuts to Rip, working in silence, shoulders tense, eyes hard. He has that look he only gets when he senses danger long before it arrives, the kind of quiet instinct that has kept him alive since childhood. When the camera holds on his face, you realize he's carrying the weight of protecting both the ranch and the family that trusts him to stand between them and the world. And it's the small moments between Beth and Rip that hit the hardest. The trailer doesn't rely on dramatic music or loud dialogue to sell their connection. Instead, it gives us these quick, intimate glances. Beth brushing her hand along Rip's back as she walks past him, Rip stepping slightly in front of her when someone approaches, Beth touching Carter's shoulder while Rip watches with that soft, almost proud expression. These tiny interactions carry more emotional weight than any speech ever could. They tell us everything. Beth and Rip aren't just partners. They're a team forged through pain, loyalty, and a shared refusal to ever lose each other again. But the trailer also slips in something darker beneath that bond. A shadow. A threat that doesn't look physical but emotional. There's a moment where Beth looks at Rip with this strange mix of fear and regret, like she's hiding something heavy. And Rip, instead of asking, just nods, because he's learned that sometimes loving Beth means waiting for her to let you into the storm on her own terms. And then there's Carter, caught in the middle of all this unspoken tension, trying to figure out where he fits in a family that loves fiercely but fights even harder. Carter's scenes in the trailer are especially telling. In one clip, he's trying to help Rip with ranch work, and the frustration on his face is almost painful to watch. Not because he can't do it, but because he wants so badly to be good enough, to make Rip proud, to live up to the man who saved him. And when Beth steps into that moment with one of those looks she only gives him, the kind that's half encouragement and half tough love, you can tell she sees herself in him more than she'll ever admit. The trailer wants us to understand that this family is raw, complicated, and still learning how to fit together. And the emotional tension between these three is setting up a storyline that's going to break us before it fixes us. But the biggest punch in this trailer comes from the hints of what's coming. Every shot of Beth looking over her shoulder, every clip of Rip gripping the reins a little too tight, every frame of Carter standing alone, they all point to one thing. The danger coming for them isn't straightforward. It's layered. It's personal. And it's tied to choices they made long before this ranch, long before Texas, long before the idea of a spin-off even existed. The trailer even teases the idea that someone from Beth's past might be involved. There's a quick cut of a man in a dark hallway, his face hidden, his hands clenched like he's preparing for something. And the way the trailer pairs that shot with Beth's uneasy expression feels intentional. Sheridan doesn't insert clips like that without purpose. Someone out there knows her weaknesses. Someone knows what she loves. And someone knows the fastest way to destroy Beth Dutton is to target the people she'd die to protect. And Rip? The trailer hints that his past is also stepping back into the light. There's a moment where he lifts his head, eyes narrowed, like he's recognizing something, or someone, he hoped he'd never see again. And the audience is left wondering, what ghost from Rip's past is walking back into his life? And how dangerous is this person to the family he's finally allowed himself to love? This entire section of the trailer feels like a fuse slowly burning toward an explosion. Beth and Rip are united, stronger than ever, but surrounded by shadows that feel like they're closing in from every direction. And the emotional weight of all this creates a suspense that's impossible to ignore. Because if the trailer is already this intense, imagine what the actual series is going to unleash. The final moments of this trailer don't just tease what's coming, they practically scream that the entire Yellowstone universe is shifting, expanding, and preparing for a storyline that could redefine everything we think we know about Beth, Rip, and the legacy they're trying to protect. Sheridan doesn't end this trailer with calm. He ends it with tension so thick you can feel it in your chest, the kind that tells you the future of the Dutton Ranch isn't just uncertain, it's dangerous. And the most exciting part? Every frame hints that this spin-off is about to become the emotional center of the entire franchise. The trailer slows down just enough for you to catch your breath, then drops a montage that feels like a preview of war. A door slamming shut, a truck speeding down a dirt road, Beth turning sharply, eyes filled with fire. Rip standing alone in a field at dusk, looking like a man preparing himself for a choice that could change everything. These are the shots Sheridan uses when he wants to warn us that the peace is over, and in this trailer, it feels like peace barely existed in the first place. The most haunting shot comes when the camera tightens on Carter. He's standing in the doorway of the ranch house, one hand gripping the frame, the other clenched by his side. His face is confused, hurt, determined. Every emotion tangled together like someone who realizes the world he's entering is far bigger and far darker than he ever imagined. And the trailer doesn't give us context. It doesn't tell us what he's looking at. It doesn't explain what he's feeling. It just leaves that expression hanging there like a question waiting to explode. Because the truth is, this spin-off isn't just about Beth and Rip building a life. It's about whether Carter can survive the weight of their past while trying to become the future of the Dutton legacy. And then there's the voiceover, calm at first, then edged with worry, as someone says, "Not every fight starts on the land." It's a single line, but it ties together every mystery the trailer throws at us. The Chicago scenes, the polished suits, the new characters with their silent histories. The tension on the ranch. It's all part of a much larger storm, one that isn't bound by fences or county borders. Something is coming that doesn't care about tradition, blood, or the rules that used to protect the Dutton name. And the trailer makes it clear that Beth and Rip are going to have to fight this battle on unfamiliar ground.